Tequila to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. Time to talk about a rule that definitely can have an effect on the San Francisco 49ers. They can benefit from. It's going to be a great conversation, one that we've been basically having since January of the season. So looking forward to getting into this. So the rule is there. It's called a 3-quarterback rule. And of course, a lot of people are calling it the Brock Purdy rule, because everyone saw what happened in the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy gets hurt, tears the UCL, can't play anymore. They bring in Josh Johnson because most teams were rolling with 2 quarterbacks because you just needed all the rest of the roster spots for other players. Josh Johnson gets a concussion, and you have to bring Brock Purdy back. He can't throw the football. He can't do anything because he has the elbow injury, and the game is basically a joke because you're just not going to see anything of a competitive game when the defense knows you can't throw the football. They can come up, load the box, blow you up. Christian McCaffrey still had a great run in that football game, but the game was over once that became the case. So the NFL used to have a rule about 3 quarterbacks, and they eliminated it in 2011 when they expanded the roster size on game day. They felt like there was enough players that if you decided to have 3 quarterbacks on your 53-man roster, you could have one dressed and available for games. And we've seen some NFL teams do that. A lot of times, though, it takes away from other positions that you want to have players for that actually make an impact on the game, whether that's special teams or actually playing, on your first or second unit of offense and defense. So the rule has kind of been out there and gone for a while, and there's have been cases where it would have been nice, especially during COVID. A couple of teams lost an entire quarterback room and had to have position players play quarterback. So this is not something that's just unique to this situation with the 49ers, but I definitely think it put it on display. And the 49ers must have really believed this rule was going to go through the way they attacked the quarterback position. They brought in guys that could play the position at a high level. And I think what it also indicates is the 49ers plan on keeping 3 quarterbacks on their active roster. They did last year, keeping Brock Purdy as a 3rd quarterback to go with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So I think that pretty much just makes it very clear that the 49ers are going to keep 3 quarterbacks on their 53-man roster, that being Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold. And, of course, they have Brandon Allen as well. We'll see what happens with him. He's there in case someone gets hurt. Then he would be the 3rd quarterback. But this rule is a very interesting rule because it's not like it allows you to have 3 quarterbacks available for you to play in the game in any situation. Let's say Trey Lance is playing good. He gets injured. Brock Purdy comes in and Brock Purdy's playing really bad. You can't then turn to Sam Darnold and say, hey, we need you to go in there and play good. Brock Purdy's struggling, or vice versa, or whatever the case may be, whoever's starting. What would have to happen is both quarterbacks in front of Sam Darnold would have to get injured. Both of them would have to be out and ruled out by medical staff for Sam Darnold to come in. He's an emergency quarterback. He could then play. If at any time the 2 quarterbacks ahead of him are deemed able to play in the game, Sam Darnold must go out of the game and they can go in. So it doesn't really matter if Sam came in at that point and had tremendous success. You couldn't roll with him. That's not what the emergency quarterback rule is. So it does give you the advantage of having a 3rd quarterback in case all hell breaks loose and you lose the guys in front. But it doesn't give you the freedom to have 3 competitive quarterbacks that you can decide between. So you're going to have to be very clear on who you put in that situation. So you have to put the guy you actually feel is the 3rd quarterback as your emergency quarterback. You also are not allowed to elevate them from the practice squad in that 3rd quarterback role. They must be a part of your active 53-man roster. So the 49ers will carry 3 quarterbacks on their active roster. I figure most NFL teams will now with this scenario. So that means you're probably going to limit another position of a little bit of talent. So it does make it interesting. Of course, offensive line, you can also have an extra offensive lineman as long as you have 8 offensive linemen as part of the group. So I think that's important to remember when you're looking at the rules that the NFL has. You have to make sure that you can have as many as 48 players available. At least 8 of those players have to be offensive linemen. If not, your game day roster is limited to 47. So presumably it would be 48 again with the quarterback. So active roster has definitely increasing and changing, and the 49ers are going to have some advantages there at the quarterback position. So I think knowing this rule was going to go through is the same reason we just seen Mitchell Trubisky get a new contract, 3 quarterbacks there. So it's going to be very important for teams to get 3 quality quarterbacks, and the 49ers were definitely ahead of the curve. You throw in the fact that all 3 of the quarterbacks for the 49ers are extremely cheap. Sam Darnold, if he played a significant amount of snaps and won games, could earn up to $11 million, but in that case, it's still a lot cheaper. So the 49ers quarterback room accounts for $15 million on the season. That is one of the best. And now with this new rule, they can take advantage of using all 3 players. Is it a perfect rule? And a perfect rule? No. Love to be able to use any one of those players that you wanted to use. That way, in case someone was struggling, you still could use the competitive advantage of having another player available. It also means that, hey, maybe Brock Purdy's not all the way healthy, but he could go if you needed him to. You could potentially leave him as the 3rd quarterback, knowing the only time he comes in is if somebody gets hurt. This could have been pivotal in the NFC Championship game last year. Jimmy Garoppolo could have been active as the emergency quarterback, where the only way he's going is if the other 2 are hurt. So this is a very interesting rule. I think it's a rule that can benefit the 49ers in some scenarios, but I definitely think it does ensure that the NFL is going to have competitive football games, because you need to make sure you have quarterbacks. It's the most important position for an offense to make sure that they go, and having the guys that are able to go out and do it is so important. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this NFL rule ends up impacting the entire NFL and how many teams actually get to that emergency quarterback on that day. What it also means is no more Kyle Juszczyk playing quarterback, no more Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback. It changes it up a little bit for them. Sorry, guys. But I think it's a good thing for the 49ers, and with the 49ers having 3 very solid quarterbacks, it definitely is a good idea to keep all 3 of those quarterbacks. So trading one of those guys away doesn't seem likely at this point. Insulation all over the place with 3 talented quarterbacks. 49ers are sitting pretty. Their belief in this rule going through obviously helps them out. Financially, fiscally responsible. To me, the 49ers are just doing a very good job, and this rule will definitely benefit the 49ers and ensure that we don't have these kinds of problems around the league that no one else has to go through what the 49ers went through in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. So the 49ers in the NFL are definitely on the right track. Good to see the NFL making a move and not sitting back, and the owners getting this rule done and making it so fans don't miss out on quality game. That could have been a spectacular game versus Philadelphia, and it was definitely hindered by injury and made it a little bit lackluster to watch. But hopefully that doesn't happen again. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you'll like the video. Let me know what you think about the 3 quarterback rule. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 125 subs away from getting to 4K. So really enjoying the outpouring of support. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. More content coming your way. Going to get back to some of these redshirt rundown players and some undrafted free agents. Going to be really fun. So pay attention to the channel. A lot more content coming your way. But until the next time, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.